All right, now that you've had some chance to perform your own critique on these two images, I'd like to give you my take on them. We'll start on the left-hand image, and as always, we're going to start with simplicity. Let's count the number of elements in this image. 1, 2, 3, and maybe 4 elements in this image. So it certainly qualifies for the less than or equal to 4. Over here, 1, and then 2. This would all be one element as far as I'm concerned, and then 3. If you wanted to count the lighthouse as a separate element, I wouldn't, but then you'd only be at 4. So both images qualify there. I think overall this is a little bit simpler in terms of number of elements, 3 versus 4. Okay, and then let's move on from number of elements is look at the internal complexity. Well, left-hand image, sky has detail, but it's not complex, nice and simple. Water's beautifully simple, nice detail in the ripples and the reflections. But this area is the challenge, isn't it, right? It's not in full silhouette. It's got detail in there, but it's so dark, and there's really no distinguishing there. So it's too complex. It really is. On the other hand, this one here, simple, simple, simple in terms of internal complexity. So, boom, this one definitely wins that particular challenge. Now, over here, when we look at separation, is good separation between land and sky, land and water, and between the complex area and the water is okay. This is beautifully separated here. This is very nice. But, this is not well separated here. This is really kind of maybe the biggest weakness of the image is this, plus this internal complexity. The land and then this mid area here in the foreground just is not well separated. Whereas this image, beautiful separation between the reflection and the water, beautiful separation between the land and the sky. So, yeah, terrific separation. So this wins that battle. And then a focal area in the image, in either image. When you look at this image, the sky is beautiful, the water is beautiful, but there's really no focal area in this image. So overall, the impression of the image is, well, that's pretty. But compared to this image, where this definitely has a focal area right here, and then everything flows from there, there's really no comparison between these two. So in terms of simplicity, I think the right-hand image wins, 3 out of 4 of the characteristics, no doubt about it. Is there anything that's a little bit disturbing or anything that just kind of nags at us in this image? And sure, I know you've picked up on it. It's the power lines here. And these lines, whatever these are, those are the masts of a boat that's sitting in the harbor. So these are a little bit disturbing. They're not horrible, but there's just those nagging little details that I just don't like. So maybe we'll fix those. Okay, so next we've got asymmetry. Left-hand image, very nicely asymmetrical, right? When you do top, bottom, left, right, all 4 quadrants, everything's nice, and the horizon line is well below the middle. And same thing over here, right? Top, bottom, left, right, horizon line is up, all 4 quadrants are separated, and we've got this beautifully offset eye line over here, so very nice. So both images qualify well there. In terms of eye lines, we've got some nice vertical eye lines in this image, and notice all these masts are well separated here. But we could have a nice eye line back here, but it's interrupted, right? It's eye line interruptus here because of this lack of separation here. Whereas on this image, this nicely detailed eye line goes all the way across. And the only thing that mars it is these darn power poles and the masts sticking up. Grumble, grumble. Okay, so in terms of asymmetry and eye lines, which as we know work together, both images are good, but I think, again, the right-hand image really kind of takes the prize when it comes to that. And finally, when we look at our images and we're kind of completing our evaluation, we look at the point of view. The left-hand image has kind of a normal, standard human point of view with a wide-angle lens. It's okay, but it's nothing great. The right-hand image, it has a different look to it, and the reason is this one's shot with a telephoto lens, so you get that sense of compression of all that sky and space in between. So although it's a standard view in terms of where you're holding the camera, using that telephoto lens creates a little bit of a interesting non-human perspective on it. So I think it takes it on that one as well. So overall, I think we've got to say that the right-hand image wins 9 out of the 10 of the competitions. The only thing that bothers me a little bit about this one is some of this annoying detail that's up in here that I don't want in the image. Okay, so it's the right-hand image. Now, would I make any recommendations? Sure, let's just quickly go over to Lightroom and take a look. And what I've done here is I've already implemented my recommendations here on these images. On this image, love the sky, but, there's a lot of area up in the sky that doesn't have much detail. Love this area, really like this. But what I did was I moved the crop down from the top just a little bit, and you could even move a little bit more if you wanted to. I didn't touch the bottom at all because I love the reflections and the details in here, but removing some of that blank area of sky at the top that doesn't have much detail in it. And this detail right here gets bled off the page anyway. So here, everything, is well within. it creates a little bit more of a panorama look of the image, which enhances the horizontal eye line of the image. So I did that, and I think it improves the image. And then let's go back and take a look at these two. And I've done something similar, a little bit more cropping here. I removed the blank portion of the sky up here, moved it down, left a little buffer room, as we always do. And I also got rid of a lot of the blank area with no detail in the water, which has a similar impact to the previous image where it elongates the eye line and creates more of a panoramic type of view, keeping all the nice detail in the image. All right, and then we still have this annoying detail here, don't we? These little areas of visual confusion that we don't like. So, of course, you know what I did, right? I went into Photoshop, and let's take a look at all three of these together. And there's the final version. And notice how, even though these were just little visual annoyances, when you take them out, look how much cleaner and sharper. And overall, the composition improves as a result of moving those little annoyances. That's why you really want to pay attention to your overall complexity and internal complexity and simplicity in an image. All right, so there's our critique. There's my recommendations. I hope you had a great time working in your critique, and I encourage you to go forth and compose.